What's up, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of the podcast. My name is Robbie Cassidy, and on this episode, to be honest, we're going to take a deep dive into some of the facts around back pain. And the name of this podcast is going to be It's Time to Face the Facts. Okay, because I've been talking to a lot of people during the week who are in this cycle of pain, and they're really not seeing an end to it. They don't know how to get out of it, and what ends up happening is they continue to get stuck in this vicious biomedical pain cycle where they're going to the doctor, they're going to the consultant, and all they're getting back is massage, painkillers, they're getting injections, and they're getting recommended for surgeries that they don't need. Okay, and I just want to make this podcast so that we can break that cycle, and I want to show you what the actual way out of it is. Okay, to get straight into it, I always amazes me with how we can get caught into these cycles, and then over and over again we expect a different result. I'm pretty sure that's an Albert Einstein quote of the definition of some form of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And what we do is we feel the same thing that didn't help us the first time, and possibly the second time, it's actually going to help us this time. And I see this so common or so often with people who are getting especially injections for their back or their shoulder. And they know that it didn't really fix it the first or second time. It may have dulled the pain for a little bit of time, but the pain keeps coming back. What they do is they go back in and they get the same thing again. And it's really frustrating for them because it's all they're being recommended. It's like, okay, well, if it gave you a little bit of relief, let's try it again. It's a bit crazy. It's like putting a Band-Aid on the issue and hoping that it gets better, okay? If you put a Band-Aid on your back and you know it's probably not going to fix it, okay? But while the Band-Aid's there, you feel that you're doing the right thing. And I think that's what happens to a lot of us. But when we get stuck in that mindset, we push and we push and we push against the wall and we hope that it will move. But you end up then feeling helpless. And you don't get any new result, or you don't get the result that you want. And honestly, it's like beating a dead horse. I see it all the time with people when they continue to do the same thing for back pain over and over again, and they're just expecting this new result. They say, I went to the physio, I got massage. Like speaking to a guy recently who has been 12 months going to the same physio, getting the same massage, dry needling, and it's been helping him. And people go to like chiropractors as well, and it helps them for the next 24 to 48 hours. And they kind of live on that relief then, but it's not actually improving it long term. All you're doing is masking the symptoms, okay? And there's a lot more elements to this. This is the thing. I see it so often, and you can kind of see where it comes from. I feel that sometimes when it comes to back pain, you'll see it, okay? And it happens with different generations at different times, different age groups. They align themselves with this medical model of back pain, okay? And even when it doesn't work, they're sticking to it. Not because they don't notice it's not working, because they've realized it's not working and they would say it. It's honestly because it's familiar. And this isn't to bash anyone here. I'm here to highlight things because I want you to do better. I want you to overcome this. I want you to get your life back. I want you to get the confidence back. And you can do it, okay? I see it every single day. You can do it, but it just takes a little time. And honestly, you have to go a new route. You can't just keep pushing the same thing and hoping for a new result. You have to go a new route. And what happens here is that we continue down this route of the biomedical model. And for people who don't know what that is, it's where you start to look for mechanical issues and you try to correlate those to pain, okay? So what I mean is that if you're dealing with a chronic injury, or an injury that's been there for, let's say, over 6 months to a year, up to 10 years, often what happens is the injury itself heals, but the nervous system stays protective. And the nervous system gets in the way then, because what happens is you start to get a lot of pain. Okay, because you have to think that pain is generated in the nervous system. It's not generated in the tissue. And once we start to understand that, you can start to make change. But if you are stuck in this biomedical model where you go into your doctor and they're saying it must be because your hips are offline, it's because you have degenerative discs, it's because you have a bulging disc, it's because you have a rotator cuff tear, all of these like biomedical reasons, and in a lot of cases, okay, they may be contributing, but if the research shows, okay, 50% of people over 30 years old have degenerating discs with no pain, how can you then point and say that's the reason that I have pain? You can't, okay? Because it might comfort you, but it's not the real reason that you have pain. And that's what I'm always trying to do, is I'm trying to break beliefs in people, trying to show you, okay, this isn't working because you're just going down the wrong route. But there's a new opportunity. There's a new way you can do it. There's a new way you can go after this. But you have to completely get your mind into a different frame, okay? So it does, in a lot of ways, this biomedical model, the way people are pushed in, they go to a doctor, they get an MRI, they go to consultant. The consultant says, okay, well, we'll try an injection into the area. We'll try a nerve blocker. We'll try to do surgery on it. But you're not actually treating the issue, because the issue isn't necessarily right what you're looking at. It's more in the nervous system, as I was describing. The nervous system can become really protective. And when it becomes protective, it gives you pain. That's what muscle guarding is. That's what muscle tightness is. That's the nervous system that's doing that, okay? The nervous system controls the muscle action, all right? Now, this biomedical model, it really reminds me, to go down this other path, it reminds me of the grip that the Catholic Church used to have on Ireland, and how people just did what they were told by the priests and by the church. And I've been having so many conversations with people here recently who've had literally 2 to 3 injections, and there's been no avail, no help at all. But yet they return to the consultant, another €350 to be told the same thing, but this time they've been told it in 10 minutes. Okay? Last time it was 15 minutes. It's actually getting shorter, the appointments. Because and I'll explain why this happens as well, because we're not going to blame anyone here. We're not going to blame the consultant, and we're not going to blame you for this happening to you. I just want to highlight the cycle. So you go in, 10 minutes, 350 quid, told the same thing, we're going to do an injection. Now, you come out and you're stuck in this position and you feel like there's no hope, because it's the same as what you were told before. But in your mind, you start to think, what can I do? Like, what other option do I have? And you're walking back to your car and you're sitting in the car and you're kind of going over in your mind what the consultant told you. And what could it possibly be? What could help? And what would he recommend? Okay, this time you would expect it to be a little bit different, because the injections didn't work the last 2 times. You'd expect so. Now, you've spent over $2,000 on this. So surely there has to be some type of a solution if that's the case. But you come out, you're in the car, you're driving home, and your only option, because it was your recommendation of your consultant, is to get another injection. So we'll see how that goes. Boy, this one will have to help. The other 2 didn't help, but this one could help. It's amazing how it happens. And what do people do? They say, okay, 100%, let's do it. Because they've been told that this is their option and their only option. But it just keeps them in that cycle. And the thing is, now that you're stuck in that cycle, you don't realize it, but life starts getting away from you. Because how many more cycles do you actually have? You cannot keep getting injections. You can't do it. They start to break down the area. They will stop doing them at a certain stage. So what do you do then? You get a surgery. And then you just reduce what you do, and you stop what you do, and you stop all the exercises and activities that you love, and you stop everything that could be contributing to pain at all, because you don't want to make it worse. And it becomes a huge part of your mind. Now, if you stay on this path, where do you think you're going to be in 6 months' time? So the real problem here is actually different than what you realize. Okay, and let me break it down for you. And I'm going to use an analogy that will sound a bit random, but when I bring it back, I hope that it highlights to you what's going on. So let's look at cars for a second. You're in a position that you're looking for a Volkswagen. Okay, you need a Volkswagen. You've had Fords for the last couple of years, but you can see that the Ford doesn't really work for you anymore. It's uncomfortable, it keeps breaking down, and then you get this short-term enjoyment before all the lights in the dash come on. The tyres wear out too fast. And you're constantly in the garage waiting for it to be fixed. And you're sick and tired of Fords. This isn't the bash Ford, the car. But you're sick and tired of them, and you don't want to have them anymore. And you're actually starting to not like the Ford salesman because he keeps recommending you different models of the same car. But you know in your heart and soul that you need a Volkswagen because it's key to the lifestyle that you want. So let's take a step back. If that is the case, you tell me, why in the name of God do you keep going back to a Ford dealer hoping you're going to get a Volkswagen? You're getting a Ford, and you will be continually offered a Ford until you go somewhere else and you try something new. And this is the exact same as going back to your consultant looking for a new solution. That's not going to be an injection or surgery. You're getting a Ford. Okay? Your consultant is the Ford dealer. Don't go in there looking for a new option, because that's all they have. And that isn't to knock anyone, but that's the options that they have. And until you make the decision that this isn't what you want and you actually go about and look for a new solution, look for a new opportunity and a new change, you won't get it. Okay, I had this conversation with my sister recently and it really opened my eyes to it. She's a doctor. And she said it so clearly to me that I just sat there after thinking about it. And we were going over and back about this discussion of like orthopedics and how people get pushed into this system and how they struggle to get out of it. And she said, look, Robbie, she said, I know what you do is helping people. I know that you can help to make that long-term change in your life. I know you can help them with lifestyle change, with sleep and with their hydration and their diet. And I know you can get them with their confidence back and build healthy habits and build their strength and build their tolerance and give them back that independence. She gave me a little bit of a build up. And then she said, but when somebody comes into us in the hospital, they're looking for a solution right there and then. They're not looking for all these other factors outside of it that could be contributing. They don't want to know anything about it. They just want a solution right now. And we have to give it to them. And it's not like we have the choice to do it differently. It's not in the system, unfortunately, she said. And there it is. That's the issue, as cleanly as you like. It's time to wake up and it's time to face the facts. You can't keep looking for another massage or painkillers or a new injection or a new consultation. It's not going to help. It hasn't helped so far, so it's not going to help even if you keep pushing at it. And no matter how hard you continue to beat the dead horse, it's not going to change. It's not going to move. So no, another injection probably won't work for you. It'll only make you feel like you have an adequate solution for another couple of weeks until the issue kicks up again and pulls the confidence that you have back and knocks you down again. And you need to step out of your comfort zone and you need to finally admit that it's not working for you. That's what you have to do. And instead, here's the light on the situation. You need to start building something that will work. Something that's going to actually help you, first off, improve your sleep, take down the levels of pain, and let go of the control that it has on you, and give you back to control so that you can start doing what you want when you want. And you get back to living life where you can book holidays, or you can go to social events, or you can play with your kids, or you can join in a new activity or a new sport, and you don't have to think, what is my back going to do? If you've been dealing with a back pain or a back injury for over 6 months, and this goes for any type of chronic injury, it's most likely not an issue of the body, it's an issue of the nervous system. The system has become overprotective. It could be an old injury that caused it, it could be multiple old injuries that caused it. But until you start addressing the system, until you start building strength in the body so that it starts to feel confident and it doesn't need to protect you anymore. And how does it protect you? It gives you pain. It stops you moving. All the muscles get really tight. Until you start addressing that, where you get these flare-ups, You don't know what caused them. It feels like there's no pattern, even though there always is. Even you feel like there isn't. Till you address that, then you will actually start to see change. Then you will become more confident in yourself, and you'll stop living this life in fear. Fear of the next time that your back flares up. What's it going to do? Is it going to be worse? Do I have to go for surgery? How bad can this get? Stop living with that mindset and letting that control you. But you do really need to make the decision to finally actually focus on yourself, and that's where it starts. Because if you don't, your independence will start waning. The window will start closing. And you need to start making that change. Really, that is what it is. That's all I want to talk about. It's small steps in the right direction make a big difference over time. But you need to change that path. Okay? If you want to get on the right path. This podcast comes off the back of me having multiple conversations with people where they, how would you say, I can't ever help anyone. I can't make you change. Okay? That's the easiest way to say it. You have to first decide to make the change, and then when you do decide to make a change, I will be with you step by step along the journey to help you. But you have to make the decision first. And as I said, once you do, in 5 years' time or in 10 years' time, you can look back and be happy with it. But if you don't, you will look back and you'll say, should I have done something different? And honestly, that's really just what I wanted to talk about today. I just felt like it's time to face the facts. It's time to face the reality of things aren't changing. Why are we continuing trying to change things the same way? So if you need help in the journey, don't know where to start, I would be really happy to help you out. We have lots of people consistently getting back to exercise, getting back to the things that they felt they had absolutely no hope with. From getting back to running, hiking, gym, to things such as high rocks, marathons, football, across the board, horse riding, across the board. And it all comes from actually addressing what's going on and not looking for something wrong in the body. Instead, we look at the nervous system and we work directly on the nervous system. And this is exactly how Amy went from pain every day, not being able to sleep, to running 5k in 6 weeks and sleeping soundly at night. Or John, who is a chef, who's running restaurants, who is as busy as you can imagine with kids, and he is the man who's gotten back from having a bulging disc to running a marathon, doing a Spartan race, doing a high rocks, and now has complete freedom to exercise with his kids, book holidays, do what he wants, and not actually have to consider how his back will be, and enjoy life. And this idea of exercise goes from the idea of I need to exercise to I want to exercise, because you see the benefits it has, and you can see how your body is responding and adapting and getting stronger all of the time. And if you're interested in it, you can hit the link in the description. We can jump on a call and chat through it all in more detail. I'll break down exactly what's going on and what's the best option for you going forward. And if you are someone in this situation that it's not a problem, perfect. I hope at least that this has highlighted some things where some cycles in your life that maybe need to change. Otherwise, if you do have any questions, if you want to reach out, if you want to chat, just get in contact. Robbie Cassidy _ on Instagram, Robbie Cassidy on LinkedIn, on Facebook also, or Mobility Tutor on Facebook. And you can just send me an email at info@themobilitytutor.com. But yeah, honestly, that's everything I wanted to talk about today. I hope it helps. I hope that it at least sheds a bit of light. It's obviously something that I get very passionate about, because I just want to see you doing better. But sometimes you have to highlight that, and sometimes it can be a little bit of a kick to do that. So I don't mean to offend anyone when I do. It's coming from a place of love, coming from a place of I want to see you doing better. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I would absolutely love if you could rate the show. I'm looking to get it up to 1,005 stars on Spotify and iTunes, and I'm very far off it right now, but slowly but surely it's creeping up there. I'd appreciate if you could do that and subscribe as well. But that's all for me today. I really appreciate you listening in, as always. And I will chat to you all at the same time next week. Have a good one.